Welcome back to SERP Focus. This is Mike speaking, and I wanted to make this quick little video to just go over everything I do to rank a website. A lot of people, when doing SEO, they think it's this big, complicated, hard to understand thing, but very few people actually just consider all the little tactics and techniques and things that they do know to optimize their website. And if they just put it on a list, like a checklist, and consider just what do I actually know that I can do to optimize, it just looks a lot more simple. And then you can kind of rearrange those puzzle pieces to create a campaign that allows you to, rank whatever you're trying to target. So this is the basic checklist that I follow, and they're roughly in this order. So when I start a new campaign, generally everything on this list kind of begins at the very beginning. Either we're doing it or we're starting to develop an aspect of it, or it's something that we're putting into action later on within the campaign, but we're starting to build a PBN or put up a syndication network, something that fits into everything on here. There's some campaigns that I'll run based on competition or what kind of keywords where I don't necessarily use every single tactic on this list. But when I'm looking at my campaign and I'm thinking, what am I going to do and how often am I going to do it? These are all the techniques that I consider roughly in this order when I'm going through my checklist and taking action on my SEO. So the first one's on-page optimization, and that's pretty basic. It's putting keywords in headings, bolding keywords, using relevant media, pictures, alternate text, maybe putting a YouTube video or something like that, schema markup, those basic things. So when I first start a campaign, the first thing I usually do is go through the website. I make on-page changes that I see necessary. If I need to put keywords in places, I'll do that, so on and so forth. Pretty basic stuff. The next one is blogging or content generation, posting new optimized content to the website regularly. I don't do this with every single campaign I do, but generally I will create at least 5 or 10 blog posts to create some of that interlinking, inner siloing of some kind. But that in itself is just one of the techniques that I use during my campaign. The next one is interlinking or siloing. And this is just the process of linking content together on your website to create relevance. So you're strategically thinking about, what content on your website is talking about and how it's referencing other relevant content on your website, what type of anchor text you're using, and how you're using all that to communicate to the search engines what content is relevant for what, and what your web pages should be showing for as far as keyword relevance. The next thing on the checklist is citations, NAP, or Google My Business, essentially just optimizing those local citations as far as Yelp, Google My Business, Yellow Pages, Merchant Circle. Creating those NAP listings using keywords within the listings, optimized pictures from your website, your logo, and just kind of tying all those listings together with your website is a very common optimization. It's very basic, but it's just something that is definitely a necessity if you're doing local SEO, and generally something that I include in every single one of my campaigns, as far as if it's a local client for sure. The next one is hyperlocal citations, and this is things like local chamber of commerce, directory listings, things that are specific to your exact area. So if there's, if you're in Houston, if there's a website that specifically is for Houston businesses, or even if there is, a website that's specifically to a town or just a very hyper-local area that isn't listing, every single area like Yelp, and it gives you a lot more local relevance as opposed to just a general, big citation, NAP like Yelp or Yellow Pages. So that's another tactic that I use within my campaigns. The next one I'm going to talk about is social or micro blogs. Pretty much anything that has just a quick feed I'm referring to, like Facebook, Twitter. Don't know if Pinterest is considered a micro blog. I'm not really trying to say what a microblog is or isn't, but you get the general idea. Then we have content syndication. So what we're talking about here is IFTTT, or even just sharing, having content shared across other websites. Content syndication doesn't have to be artificial. It does happen on the internet naturally in cases. So depending on the type of blog you're running or the type of website, you can have your content syndicated out to authority websites. But generally, IFTTT is, the common way to create that effect nowadays easily with your blog without having to worry about getting your content out there across the internet. So more people are familiar with that term. The next one, press releases. So press releases, kind of similar to content syndication, but we're talking about news more than anything, news syndication, getting on Fox, NBC, ABC, any of the major news sites. I'm sure you're familiar with press releases. Next, we have social bookmarks. These I don't really use that often. Sometimes I'll use them if I need to kind of offset some heavy anchor text or something like that. But you have those that like Stumble Upon, Dig. More often I'll use these as kind of social signals as far as like instead of like a link generation campaign. But just again, one more of the pieces to the puzzle that I'm considering when looking at my SEO. Next, we have blog comments. Blog commenting on relevant posts to reference your website or your brand. And I don't mean just like spam blog commenting or using GSA or anything like that. I mean going to relevant websites with relevant content and actually referencing a relevant blog post on your website that's adding to the value of that content, or answering a question that someone else had within the comments with a link to your website, or something that's actually building on the relevance and of your website and isn't just, we're not talking about spam blog comments is the point I'm trying to make. Next tactic or technique we have is Web 2.0s or blogs. Things like WordPress.com, Blogger, Weebly. I'm sure you're all familiar with those. A lot of people use things like FCS Networker. Again, this is similar to IFTTT, but more what I'm talking about now is actual link generation, not through syndication of content, but just by generating content and linking. So I'm sure you're familiar with that. You've probably done that before for a few websites. The next one we're going to talk about is guest posting, another tactic that can be used. This can be done through networking, getting together with other people within your industry. I'm sure you've heard the term before. It's not as popular because the new strategies, with PBNs and everything. But guest posting is definitely a powerful option when considering your SEO campaigns. The next one, PBN links, guest posting on your own private websites or blogs. Again, so that is kind of the artificial way of guest posting, and allows you to get the authority, your anchor text links, everything you're trying to do when devising your SEO campaign. But again, just another tactic or technique to consider when structuring the campaign as a whole. And then we have social signals. Now, a lot of people will say that social signals aren't really a part of the algorithm. They don't rank your website. Whether that's true or not, it's a real part of the internet. It's something that's happening. It's something that's occurring when it comes to the competition and the way people are interacting with websites. So therefore, as far as I'm concerned, to keep things natural, to make things progress in a manner that they would progress if you were doing, white hat optimization, as Google would call it, or if your website really was getting shared and getting traffic from other places. Social signals would obviously be a part of what is happening there. So something else I consider when analyzing the competition and putting together the SEO campaign. Not used on every campaign I do is tiered linking, and generally what that is just using any of the above methods that I talked about to generate links to my tier 1 links, the methods mentioned above, or even to a tier 2 link, a link linking to my tier 1 link that links to my website. Okay, so now the very last one, and this one kind of belongs at the beginning, but I put it last because it kind of fits into everything else that I've already gone over up until this point, and that's competition analysis, researching the competition for their SEO, their backlinks, and their strategy. So you're looking at their anchor text. I mentioned this in the previous Getting Unstuck video that I did, and this kind of plays into the strategy, but it fits into its own category in that it's a separate research step. It kind of it's defined by what's going on with the competition, so it varies with every campaign. So I've put this as its own step at the end, but the point is you're looking at their backlinks. You're seeing if you can maybe get their relevant backlinks, get their the backlinks that are providing the power, the ranking ability for their website. Maybe you're mimicking the anchor text ratios or the structure of their website or their content because you know that that content ranks well, and so on and so forth. So there is competition analysis, kind of its own category, but at the same time, it fits into kind of all the stuff that I've already talked about. So that's pretty much it. When looking at SEO, there's, you probably have some methods you use or some techniques that you can kind of fit into other categories, maybe add a few more bullet points here. But when you sit down and you look at what are the actual things I do to rank a website, this is essentially everything I do. Any single, there's obviously strategy involved. There's, things that zero down on more direct, like, what steps I'm taking to create blog comments or how I'm finding those relevant posts and those types of things. But generally, everything I do within my SEO campaign fits into one of these bullet points. And when you look at it in this simple, broke down way, you can kind of sit there and go through it step by step and think, what steps do I need to take to fulfill this SEO campaign and to get to the first page? So I hope that kind of keeps it simple. This is literally all the tactics and techniques I use in one way or another. There's really nothing else to my SEO, besides this, except for just kind of the way I put these pieces of the puzzle together. And that's the strategy part of doing SEO. So that's it. If you have any questions, I'll be in the Facebook group. Get in there, ask questions, let me know your feedback. If you have any things that you'd like to add to this checklist or techniques you use, definitely let me know. I'd love to hear what you're practicing in your SEO campaigns. And thanks for watching, and look forward to seeing you in the group. All right.